Panda Anthem.
Ian, what's up?
Red Panda Anthem.
Red Panda, what's good?
Red Panda Anthem.
It's your boy.
Shout out to Chris. That subprime borrower for cars, that market is starting to pop. Please be careful. The same moves happen over and over and over again. And if you're mindful and careful, you can take advantage of these. But go look at every time we had a recession, what was the price of oil? This ticker is JBL. I have to do more research on this one, but I do like the momentum of it. It hasn't drawn down a hell of a lot. So whoever found this one and sent it to me, thank you so much. Berkshire Hathaway B shares. Yes. I like TGIF. Let's go here real quick. No, I don't like this. Whenever in doubt, and I know I probably shouldn't share this. Whenever in doubt, go look at the maximum chart, and that'll tell you everything that you need to know if the company is good or not. And what if it doesn't have 20 years worth of data? You need to go look at what the revenue was before. There's ways you can get the reports. You may have to pay for it, but go look. Costco. I still like, may have to wait to 250. Stock Club, I'll give you guys the real price. Look at ABBV. Solid. Mosaic, not bad. Deere, not bad. Let's look at BP. So when I'm saying do your research, let's even look at Biopath Holding. No, look at this decline. 117.8. Doesn't mean that it's a bad company, but the stock I cannot touch. Let's look at BHP. So when you guys are like, hey, what are you reviewing? This is literally my process. I'm like, let me go and look historically to see. So BHP, 2011, the high was 102.55. Then it dropped down. And if we look here, we just go from top to bottom, we can see here that it has not performed incredibly well. Has not had a new high since 2011. I don't want to touch that. Let's look at Shell. Two new. Square. Everyone's been asking me about Square. Give me the next week and I'll give you guys a price for Square. But if you look and see what they are working on. Now normally I would say, hey, now if you want to put something on my jacket and say, hey, Ian messed up, Square could be one. Square could be one. Now I did say we were going to fall. But I do think because of the relationship that Jack has with Elon, that's the wild card, and what they're working on, that's going to give them their advantage. And also some of the partnerships and stuff that they have lined up. That's the only reason I still have faith in them. I'm not in love or married to any particular stock. And I've always told you guys, like, I hope one day Tim Cook comes in here and says he's going to retire or goes to Microsoft or Google, and I can say, hey, it's over for Apple. AMD. DBA is an architectural ETF. Nope. And then WEAT. Wheat. It's a wheat commodity. It's been going up recently, of course, but let's go 5-year. Great. It's too high right now, but if you go historically and look long term, how's it perform? $25. It is above this EMA for the snipers. Even if this long term, you could have fired here at the EMA. The candles that are white are up candles. You could have fired there, or if you went and looked at the weekly, you would have missed your move, but you would have had a signal here to fire back here in 2020. Even if we go look at the Forex market, shout out to Jess. Let's go look at the Euro real quick. Euro is sliding down. Swiss franc is sliding down. Let's look at Australian dollar. Not bad. Let's go in 5-year month. Mexican peso, just barely above the CMA, so we don't have room to fire yet. Everything is about being patient. Let's look at the VIX. VIX is at 28.48. And let's go look at VXX. It's at 24.06. I'm encouraging every single one of you to really just be patient and focus on your craft. Doge has fallen apart. Shiba Inu holdings of Ethereum whales declined almost 50%. And I said it before, but as soon as BlackRock invested into Circle, which is a USDC issuer, Tether and Luna became a competitor. The secret, and you've seen us do it. You've seen Trap do it. You've seen EYO do it. They didn't say, hey, I'm going to go make a media company and then now I'm going to compete against Charlemagne and 85 South and Button. And competition is a fool's game. Can I be honest with you about competition? If you feel as if you have competition, you are either not good enough at your craft to be perceived or actually be number one, or you want to go out of business faster. Apple and Google are collaborators. When Steve came back, and I've told the story before, Bill Gates financed and owned 15% of Apple and had to allow the I'm a Mac versus PC campaign to actually run. I've told some of you some of my plans and some things I want to get involved in and interested in, right? But competition, that's why I tell a lot of you, for those of you that come to the events and like, hey, I want to build. I'm like, the number one thing you need with me to build and to build with us is trust. And a lot of you, I'm going to be very honest when you're like, hey, man, introduce me to Troy Rashad. I want to do this. I'm like, are you trustworthy first? When I first met Jamal, when I came to Troy's house, Troy, thank you. Danielle, thank you. Have me in your house when we did episode 70. Jamal's energy, I can tell he loved trading. The number, I had a suit on, right? The only person at that time I had a suit on EYO. And the number one thing Rashad asked me at the end, you do this full time or no? That cuts all the bullshit. Because a lot of people want to posture and people want to compete, right? Because they are not great at their craft, but competition is a fool's game. The real end game for any industry that you're a part of is you want to own a majority share of it. So that's why even with the decentralization part, everyone can say I'm wrong. I'm fine with that. I have enough humility to say, hey, I don't know everything about crypto. That is a superpower. But for those of you that know business, the cartel model, which has existed since inception, which was truly created by the Vatican. So the reason that most priests are not able to have wives inside of the Vatican is so you can pass the real estate on to the Vatican, and it is an asset under management of that entity. So when I was telling you, hey, don't run off and sell grandma my house when she passed. I know it's tough. You may need the money. Fortunately, the only show on earth I've ever seen give money to the people is this show. If you're in a bind, we'll help you. To my brother from EC that need help, I got you tonight. But your ultimate goal with you and your friends and your associates should be to dominate one industry fully. And guess what? They get blacks and Latins to compete and argue and fight and fuss. So we have less. So they then can turn around and take the lion's share of royalties and perpetuity and equity away from us. Whether it was Kings of Comedy back in the day, or this Tupac and Biggie. I love what, kudos to the Queen, Miss Valletta Wallace, what she's doing with Biggie in the metaverse. That project looks like one of the best I've ever seen. Why is his project not valued at $15 billion? Look at all the money that's being made off Tupac and Biggie. Vlad and Art from Art of Dialogue. Kudos to you, brother. Bomb First and Reggie, and they're still making money off the story of what happened to Tupac and how he got killed. People still are telling stories about what happened to Biggie. Fighting is a liability for our community and our culture. It doesn't make you cool. It doesn't make you tougher. Look at all, and I told you guys before, a lot of the infighting that we see that is caused or influenced by labels is done so they can get those master recordings in their possession as an asset class. Go Google right now how much catalogs are being sold for. But the ultimate goal on the business side is to own an industry. That's what I love what Circle of CEOs is doing. Kudos to him 500. And what they built, EYL is built, what we have Red Panda have built, what Trap has built. That's why even shout out to Chris and Terry, like everyone in the spaces that actually can invest. I was telling my brother this yesterday because he's building like his fitness empire, and he's like, well, I'll get looks and people will talk crazy to me that are not in shape. And I'm like, your biggest non-congratulators, I won't say haters, non-congratulators are going to come from people that are not achieving. The ones that can actually get in shape, play ball. If you're in science, if you're a great doctor, if you're a great parent, your conflict and criticism is always going to come from those who are not doing to get you off track. TikTok has been conducting tests to let users play video games on this app in Vietnam. If that ever gets to the States, they can have a considerable impact on social media here for sure. And FTX announced it will open its access to stock trading services to a limited number of people. J-Mac, time to make some moves. Put in that plan we talked about. But I want to say this in ending. I love you. And I want you to win. Dave called me. Frederick called me. It's time for me to make this Euro step. And I know some of you are like, oh, you gonna leave? I'm never gonna leave, but let me go. Since I'm averaging 45, 22, and 22, let me go to the NBA. And those of you that have been loyal to me and Red Panda and the earners that have been loyal, you'll come with. I'll always be here. I hated that men had a blueprint to win and then didn't share. And I understand now why some don't, but I think it's better to give to the community and make things better for us than keep everything inside. Lastly, invest for the long term. Kudos to the brother. I won't say your name, but he was like, man, at the event this weekend, he was like, at first you said 30% of all your money should go into investing. Now you're saying it's 50. And I said, but in 5 years and 4 years and 7 years, when we were at these lows, people were going to be like, damn, I should have invested more. To all my investors, if you've been here since 2014 or 2008, or for those who've been investing since 2000, do you not wish even through the 99, 2000, 2001 bubble that was created that you wish that you invested more? And if so, how much more money would you have had? I love you guys dearly. Thank you for being loyal to us and the show. Please put yes in chat if I made you money. And I said it Saturday, and I'll say it here. The only thing that is separating you from being in the proverbial position that I am in is your willingness to work for 1,000 days straight. And I'll say that, I promise I'm a wrap up. But the thing about the 10,000 hours, one of my original mentors really coined that phrase back in the early 1990s. And my marketers know who that is, right? Kudos to Bond and rest in peace to his dad. But for every new level that you get to, you have to put in another set of 10,000 hours. And I said to myself, after some stuff had happened this year, in order to get the best out of you, I have to give you the best me, and I have to be more peaceful, more zen. So then when I went to Mexico, I had time to breathe and adjust. And my mom was like, hey, pull back some. My dad was like, pull back some, get more rest. My baby told me, Xander, talk less, just execute. You were here prior. You're already doing this, right? Focus on what matters. And if you do that, 5 years from now, when we run into you in Bora Bora or Morocco or Egypt or wherever we're going to be, and please put in chat, what should I do for my birthday? Because I want to do a big celebration for us, maybe at an island like this. But in 5 years, some of you are going to look up and you're going to be up 20, 30, 40 million dollars. That's why I lean on certain people like Jerry and Mike and Chris and Pierre and Dom and Clint, right? And Bryn and Kayla and Marcus. You deserve this. And for the first time in history, we have access to the same information that some of the top people in the world have had hidden for the last 300 years. Who are we to not take full advantage of it and go all in? And for those of you who say that you don't know how to invest or you don't know this as well as I do, use me. Ask questions on this show about what to do. But you know already, we make every trend Tell me the number one car company right now in chat. Number one sneaker brand. Who has the hottest shoes? What's the hottest TV show? You know. What's the hottest cell phone company? What's the hottest song in the streets? Who's the hottest artist right now in the streets? Who is the hottest camp right now? What label are they signed to? That is your pipeline. And if you go look and see if Vanguard and BlackRock are invested in them, you'll know. Same way Universal and Cash Money and Rap-A-Lot is investing into Drake. If I see Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street are buying up Apple like crazy, I know they're the hottest thing on earth. Right? That's it. You deserve this. So I know that this time may be scary when you look at the market, but if you listen to me, Troy, Rashad, Trap, Bonowin, those are the greater Bonowin. Stop sleeping on that brother. Josh Brown, Mike Novogratz. I pray for Mike because Mike had a little bit of money in the Luna, right? That's my guy. But if you listen, the blueprint has been given. All you have to do is go execute and go get rich. And you deserve that. I love you guys. Over and out.
This that Red Panda anthem.
Ian, what's up?
This that Red Panda anthem.
Red Panda,
This
what's good?
that Red Panda anthem.
Your
Whole
boy.
clique going up. I know they can't stand it.